What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we do the tier list for Train of the Dead on Living Express. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Oblivion Express is the map where we have to destroy trains. They come in from the west, mainly along 2 tracks, and we have to destroy 9 of them to win the game. If we miss more than 1 train on brutal difficulty, we lose the game. Fog of War is disabled. Areas where you have no vision are in darkness. Infested spawn from enemy buildings, and also from fallen enemies and trains.
Alright, so it's not edited because I'm recording this like a few hours before the tier list has to go live because I had no time during the weekend. Anyway, Twotuuu is in the call with us today. Twotuuu, how are you today?
All right.
Alright,
Great.
so this is the very first weekly mutation that came out. It was almost, what? It came out in 2016, so it's almost 8 years since the very first mutation came out. What were you playing 8 years ago?
What was I playing? This.
This?
I played since the first day.
Since the day one. Oh yeah, that's how you know someone's really into co-op. Alright, how do we rank commanders this week?
This one, well, it's pretty much how you deal with Outbreak, because that's the strongest mutator. Walking Infested only matters when a train goes down. That's kind of important.
Yes.
And you can full clear, but it's not really practical, so I would not consider doing it. So you just basically defend your high ground against the aberrations after 20 minutes.
That's true. Mine is kind of similar. It's basically about 2 things: defending the abs past 20 minutes and how you do against like the first train, since some commanders don't get online that quickly when they also have to build defenses against their first infested. So it's kind of, if you're good against both, you're probably ARS. If you're weak against one or both, you're probably B. Let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
Abathur starts off slow, but then once you get a Brutalist, you can cleave through all the little infested, so that's not really an issue. And then towards the late game, you got so much stuff. You have so much, like, I guess you shouldn't use Swarm Hosts, but you'll probably use like Mutalisks, Guardians, Ravagers, anything to take out trains pretty easily. I would say he goes in A. This will be really top heavy.
Yeah, same. I barely have anyone in B, like very few in B, and nobody below that. I also had Abathur in A. He's good against both the aberrations. If you have couple Swarm Hosts or static defense, that'll work just fine. You can also deep tunnel Brutalisks, that's also fine. And against first train, all you gotta do is get the first Brutalisk. That being said, I concede that sometimes players don't really farm biomass early, so if you're not an early biomass farmer, you might have a little trouble here. You might even consider first prestige Abathur, which is kind of not that great. And if you can't get a Brutalisk, you'll probably need to rush like a few spines on the low ground just to deal with the first train. So for me, it's A, but kind of A star. So we kind of agree. Let's put him in A. Prestige-wise, anyone will do, I think. Although the no prestige and the second prestige will be better here, right?
Anything but the first.
Yeah. Okay. Alarak, I actually had him as one of my B guys. I'm trying to think of how he defends against the aberrations on his own. Cannons are kind of brittle. You can kind of do a funky havoc wall off, but you can sometimes block your ally if you do that. So for me, it's just kind of B. What do you think?
Aberrations are massive. They walk over force fields.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So that wouldn't.
It wouldn't work either.
Actually, I beat this with one hand. Alarak.
Nice.
Just the mouse. So how do you stop aberrations is you put 2 Wrathwalkers and you just stand there. And
so you can't.
I used 2 Vanguards and one Vanguard, one Wrathwalker at each entrance. Well, of the main area, and at the natural I didn't have anything. Just one Vanguard, and you basically just fight with a huge death fleet. You don't even need anything. Although Ascendants would help a lot.
They would.
And Alarak has great AoE. So yeah, as long as you keep a Wrathwalker near your buildings, the aberrations won't get through. And I put Alarak in A because he has great AoE and damage output.
Okay, I'm okay putting him in A, but I would still put that, kind of a little warning, because yeah, that strategy does work, but you kind of have to not press F2. If you do it, like you kind of are aware that you shouldn't do it, but sometimes it just kind of slips, So,
If
a
anything,
little,
you just overcharge.
yeah, overcharge also
building.
works. But yeah, a little bit of a warning. Okay, let's put him in A. Prestige, he only has one prestige for this, the third one, right? Because he want the Death Fleet.
Yeah.
All right, let's put him in A. Arcturus, I had him in S. I might actually have him in double S. Earth Splitters are just, a cheat for this mutation. You don't even have to leave your base. Bunkers, great for defending. You can put vampires behind them if you are not confident in the bunkers on their own. You can add a siege tank or two if you really like the Royal Guard, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think just Earth Splitters will kind of finish this on its own, and then just have probably a flame trooper or two in the bunkers so they can deal with the infested trickle. And later on, probably have, if you're up against Terran, obviously you want the Imperial Witnesses at the ramps, or you can just try to eyeball it and just shoot Contaminate Strike at it. That might reveal the Spooky Boy for your troops to shoot, and then that also works. I have him in S. What do you think?
Any prestige, he just use ESOs, and you put witnesses. Don't use Contaminate Strike on ghosts. Like, the worst thing is you empty a bunker, walk out and shoot it. Don't use a Contaminate Strike on a ghost. I put him in double S.
Double S. Oh yeah.
This is his map.
This
and the enemies aren't stronger.
This will be another double S for Arcturus. All right, let's put him in double S. Prestige wise, do you want the third one or the first one?
First or third.
First or third. Either one will work.
First is better. First is better.
Just play the way you like, but add Earth Splitters, obviously. Artanis for me is another B guy. If you can put Wrathwalkers as Alarak on the ramps, I imagine you can also put Reavers or Immortals as Artanis. As you guys saw, I played Artanis on the Monday video, but I had a Karax, so I didn't have to worry about that. But you know me, I like my F2, I like my all army hotkey, so I'm not sure how I would defend. Cannons just suck against aberrations here. I had him in B, but he's fine against the map. What do you think?
He's the worst commander for this because his AoE is lacking. So every time a train goes down, you need to either storm or use zealots. Yeah. And
I use both.
His train DPS isn't that great. So you can use Tempest, but Tempests are very bad against the infested, so that's not good. You don't want to use Unbound Fanatics every time a train goes down because that's really wasteful.
It is wasteful.
You probably don't want. You're gonna upgrade the ground army, so ground stuff. So you probably wouldn't get Tempests for this. So you would just use Dragoon, Immortal, all the gateway units. Just throw them all together. For aberrations, I would just summon some zealots when they come.
Yes.
And zealot plus an immortal or so to tank, the zealots to tank for an immortal, and my army is somewhere else. Every time they swing by.
And no
I put Artanis in B.
All right, same pretty much. So yeah, let's put him in B. You still want the third prestige here, right? Where the fast expand?
I used the second one.
Oh, you actually used the second one.
For train damage, but
that's pretty nice, I guess.
I think 3 is better in general.
I did use the third one. I used Mass Dragoon. I didn't bother with Tempest. I just used Mass Dragoons. And when I engaged the infested, I just spam storms on my zealots to kind of keep them alive. Shield Overcharge, when you are just about to engage, can sometimes keep the shield overcharge long enough so that your zealots are still getting shielded while they're fighting the remaining infested. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, he's B. Let's put in B. Prestige wise, third one's still probably better. Dehaka, where do we have him?
Dehaka, he will need some AoE, so either Tyrannosaurs or Guardians or Mutalisks. Either
Okay.
so any of those three. He's fine against the map. You kind of have to work, and you probably want a few impalers to
Palers,
deal
yeah.
train damage. Yeah, I put him in A.
Okay. I actually had him in B because I think that you will need to dedicate some army to defend against the aberrations in the late game, and that consumes supply, which you probably will need to fight the trains. I understand he can do it, but I don't think he's that great against trains in
But
particular.
but why will you need to dedicate army against the
I
aberrations if
mean,
your guardians are just hovering over the center? Like they're hovering over your main area. They'll just shoot whatever aberrations come by.
the
You don't need.
aberrations come through the ramps. They're on opposite sides of the main base. So even if you have the guardians on the second train track, they can't cover everything.
But you have like lots of minerals for primal worms. If you have enough primal
Yeah,
worms, they're
that's
there to take hits anyways.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like even primors cost supply, so they will still take away from your army. But again, it's not bad. I'm okay with A. I'm just saying I put the Haka in B, but if you think he's A, like who might disagree? uh, yeah, it is top heavy this week. I'm just trying to when I did my own list, I look at these guys. I looked at these guys like who's the least good among these, and I guess the Haka just for me just happened to be one of them. But yeah, okay, he can be going A. He could be going in A. Prestige wise, do you still like the second one here?
Second one is good.
Second one's good. Yeah. All right. That's fine. I would still use impalers against the aberrations though, because they're pretty good. Phoenix. I had Phoenix in A actually, because you can have Warbringer on one ramp. You can have Tall Dart on the other. You can have uh, another champion, I guess, on the expansion. Although you probably don't need it if you can. Yeah, if the aberrations come to the main base mostly, you probably don't need a champion at your expansion. Then you can probably just have the rest of your champions, Caldalis, Talus, Clolarian, probably, maybe Mojo, on the train duty. And oh, by the way, Twotuuu and I are kind of not including Darkness on its own as a mutator because most players who have seen this mutation before probably know the attack timings well enough that I wouldn't really that Darkness wouldn't really affect them. Anyway, I actually had Phoenix in A because I think the champions, the two champions, the Robo champs are good enough to hold the ramps, whereas the rest of the champions are kind of good enough to hold the rest of the mission on their own. What do you think?
There's no need to complicate things. You put all six champions on one hotkey. You put all your shells
On the
on the high
base,
ground, and then wherever you're being hit, you have buildings in front. So you have some cannons. If when you're fighting the infested marines, you have like four cannons. That'll take care of them. And when aberrations come, you just drop your zealot suit and spin.
the Praetor suit.
And yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
would
you
work.
just drop a suit and spin. Or if they happen to be on the same side as your army, then you kill them. Um, if they're not, then you drop your suit, and you can either use any of the three suits to fight six aberrations pretty easily.
They kind of
Uh,
appear frequently though, especially in the late game.
yeah, they're not all appearing from on the same side, and your army is going to be moving.
Maybe it's just
So
me, but
uh,
actually they really like spamming they really like spamming player two's ramp in my games, but that's because I like going into the west base, so they really like attacking the player two's ramp, and In my games, I don't play solo, so I have an ally who does get attacked. So I also put static defense on that ramp. That's why the my games look differently from Twotuu's. So yeah, please continue.
Well, yeah. So if you're using P2, then that's you just put all your units, your champions on the same side, dealing all the damage to one on one side. If you're not, then if you're using P1, which is also fine, then you will have
First person is also fine.
your regular units will be stronger. So you
Yeah.
just summon some legionnaires and hold off. I
The
put Phoenix in
aberrations.
A.
All right.
Yeah,
Turns out we put him
Phoenix
in the
in
same
A.
tier. All right, let's put him in A. I agree that the first prestige is also fine, but I still rather use the second. It's just kind of simpler to just use Kaldalis and company. Han and Horner, where do we have him?
On Horner, they have decent AOE actually because Hellbats are pretty good, and later on you'll have you have battle cruisers. So you can, if you want, just dump like 6 to 8 widow mines at each ramp, put some supply depots behind so that they don't walk through the base, and then those widow mines will blow up everything. Uh, if not, then what you can do is you have battle cruisers, and then when they hit your buildings, your battle cruisers just teleport there and just kind of stay there. Aside from that, you just have like tons of Reapers, and they deal tons of DPS to everything. I put Han Horner in A, so because their AOE is fine.
I actually put Han and Horner in B because for me they still trade. I know you soloed this, but for me, and I guess for players who aren't that good, we would still trade against Amon because we just don't engage that well. So I guess your results may vary. For me, it's B, because yeah, I don't think I can engage well enough that I won't lose significant portions of my army that I had to rebuild. What do you think?
I can kind of see that. It's just I don't remember what I did. It's been so long. I uh
I think I might even
I just
add.
know that like
Yeah.
you just well for the enemies you take them out with strike fighters as many as possible before you actually engage. Hopefully, taking out like the High Templars or the units that do AOE before you actually go in.
Do you remember what enemy comp you're fighting?
No, I do not remember.
Because I would
But
kind
I
of.
I can see B for Han Horner. I think
I mean, to be
that's
fair, I can
fine
also see A if
because
you can
yeah.
if you can reliably snipe all the splash damage, so that your army trades very well. A also works, but like, looking at the other guys in A, I mean, maybe I'm just kind of biased because I like making my tier lists kind of you know I don't like having everyone the same tier basically, so I kind of just force some people to be in B. You heard Dehaka earlier, and Han and Horse another one. Uh, for me, yeah, they're kind of just B, you know, because they again, if you're that good of a player, you can still make Han and Horn look like A, even S if you're really good. But guys like me, we can't. So for me, Han and Horn is B. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, B it is. I was about to say I would even consider adding Vikings because Vikings can shoot through infested and deal splash damage vertically or along perpendicular to the enemy line, so it looked like a Helion shot. But yes, doesn't really change. Prestige wise, do you prefer the second one here? If you're gonna use
No,
battlecruisers,
first
first one
one.
still. All right, first one still. Glad we agree on that one.
Massing Hellbat Hellion.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
Karax for me is S, possibly double S even. If you're good at using Spear of Verdun, you can just rush the Fire Lance upgrade so that you can take out the first train using just the Solar Lance. If not, you can always just do cannons and monoliths on the high ground and provide vision via I don't know observer if you can take that far, or just wait for the train to get in vision. Then if you're in the first prestige Architect of War, you can spam Chrono Boost to make your monolith shoot faster and take out those trains. and you can kind of just play kind of like Arcturus with much less range, but your monoliths can shoot up and down, so that's nice. I have him in S, possibly double S.
Uh, the reason why he's not in double S for me is because Immortals exist, where they're
It's
not
true.
a huge problem because when Immortals come, you use Orbital Strike to take them out. That's what you do. But if you don't pay attention to that, then or if you like waste too much energy, then yeah. My easy solo for this one this week was with Karax P1 against an Immortal comp, but
Watch out for immortals.
someone who one of my regular viewers who attempts this has said like it's pretty hard for some reason, which I thought was confused because he said like got overwhelmed by infested, which I'm not sure how, but I guess it can happen. So if you're worried about getting overwhelmed by infested, you add like a colossus at each ramp, and then you'll be fine.
Did they
I put
also
Karax in S.
did they also add energizers? Because they're pretty important for making sure cannon shoot fast.
Yes. Oh yeah. I added them later.
And shield batteries too to keep your stuff alive. But yeah, we kind of agree on S. Let's put him in S. Kerrigan, where do you have him?
Kerrigan, I would use first. No. Anything but the third.
But
third is still okay, but you just don't rely on the hero unit. Even one, because this is a great map for P1. Even P1 is pretty good here because of the crack. She does suffer against air, so the enemies aren't stronger. But if the enemies if they're heavy air, then you need to spend more money on either mutas or hydras, and sometimes like science vessels might.
Oh yeah, science vessels are
kind of annoying.
Vipers are a pain too.
I would choose P0 or P1, not P2, because you want immobilization wave to kill like science vessels in one shot if you see them. Oh, and like Vipers and most spellcasters will die to immobilization wave
in one shot.
I put Kerrigan in A.
Same actually. I put Kerrigan in A. I didn't really consider the prestige here. I just know that Kerrigan destroys most enemies, and then our army is just for trade cleanup and I guess infested cleanup. I'd have Omegorums at the ramps with spine crawlers and lurkers behind them. When aberrations arrive, the reason she's not S for me is because when aberrations arrive, I'll kind of need to go back in the Omegorum and then reinforce wherever that side's being attacked with my own army, or maybe just Kerrigan. That's why she's A. Prestige-wise, just kind of go with what Twotuuu says. No prestige or first prestige are both fine. So let's put them in A. Nova, I actually had Nova in S. That might sound weird. I had Nova in S because Libers are really good against trains. You can have the railgun turrets kind of walled in such a way that they'll line up when the infested come. You can have SCVs repair them. You can have tanks supporting them. And Nova just deleting most of the waves with either airstrike or the shotgun blast. I think she's S. What do you think?
This was another one where I beat this with one hand, and because I had only one hand, only mouse, I used tanks. So I opened factory first, and with factory first, you can cover. You do lots of DPS, splash damage, and you just have one tank behind like the turrets, and that'll stop all the infested. One tank behind one or two railguns, and that's it. I put Nova in S. Really
all right,
strong.
Very nice S Nova. I think prestige-wise, we want the first one, right? Soldier of Fortune.
First one, yes. First
Beautiful.
One, not the third one.
Yeah.
There's no reason for the third one here.
There's no reason. I guess if you want both fast tanks and normal speed tanks and normal speed liberators, production-wise, you can go for it. But I like having the shotgun blast for the infested. It's great against the infested. Raynor, where do you have him?
Raynor, he masses tanks, vultures, if you want, against the trains, and then fire bats, just like a fire bat in a bunker, and that should be enough. And you can repair your static defense, so infested don't get through as long as you have like a tank behind it to make sure you hit the infested marines. I put Raynor in A.
Same. I had Raynor in A. I think bunkers are fine for holding on. You can have SCVs repairing. Again, SCVs for repair can make your defense last longer than they normally should. For offense, you can go tanks. That's fine, I guess. I would think I would think of going bio here with some fire butts to kind of clean up the infested. Although watch out for splash damage. I guess you wanna use a Hyperion to take out the splash damage of the enemy, so that your bio would engage much more effectively. But I also had him an A. Prestige wise, I think no prestige is fine. Second prestige also fine. Third maybe not. You wanna maybe third is fine. What prestige did you use?
I think I used 0.
No prestige, right?
But or 0 or 2.
Yeah,
I don't think I used 1 for this one.
yeah, that's fine.
If you use 3, you're probably gonna use Banshees with their AoE ground AoE.
That's actually pretty good, actually. Yeah, that's actually pretty. Plus, you get lots of top bars, but not really necessary here. Plus, Raynor's top bars aren't that amazing versus trains. They're good, but not amazing versus trains. So, yeah, probably you want your army to do the work. So let's put Raynor in A. Stet Boy, I actually had Stet Boy in A. He's not S for me because his defense, I guess you can leave an Ultralisk at each ramp. That'll work just fine. But fine is not S. I had him in A. For the trains, you want Zerglings, you want Hydralisks. They will also take out most of the infested, but you still want Super Gary to do most of the splash damage that you need. So for me, he is A. What do you think?
So for F2 players, you can just burrow some lurkers.
Yeah.
And you can deal AoE, you can deal with the infested. Behind the lurkers, you put some spine crawlers,
Yeah.
and maybe a spore against Terran or something, or like siege and observer, overseer. And then you can F2 freely. I beat this. I beat this as a level 5 Stetmann.
Of course you
P3. Just level 5, and it was pretty easy. I mean, he just chews through everything. His Ultralisk. You have Ultralisk as P3, and even at level 5, so you just chew through everything. And yeah, I put Stetmann as.
Here's the thing. You remember when I said if it's not unanimous, it's not S? I also haven't played as a Stet Boy, so I'm not actually sure if I would object to that. I can object, but I'm not sure if I should. Because I haven't seen Stet Boy in action. I'm just going off of what I think would happen if I just have spine crawlers and a couple lurkers defending against aberrations. I guess they could be fine if you engage the Tunnel of Terror. They could be fine. And plus, if you have the green zone, they can survive for longer. If you have another thing Stetboy is going is that you can send drones to repair your static defense. So I guess that might also make them last longer. All right, I'm okay with S, I guess.
The thing is, like, by the time aberrations come, you can burrow like 10 lurkers at the bottom of each ramp. You don't need that many, but like at least 6, right? So they can't even get close.
I guess.
So, and if you burrow them along the track, they will never get up the ramp because you're also going to damage trains.
Right. So instead of putting your lurkers on the ramp, you put them on the tracks where they were able to intercept aberrations and attack waves going to the base.
Yes, and if you don't want them to get nuked, there are no buildings there, right? So you just siege an overseer, and then while the ghosts try to walk up your ramp, they'll just die.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, let's put Setboy in S. There we go. Stukov, where do we have him?
Stukov, I don't think you should use P3. You should use P1 Diamondback tank.
Tank.
Because Diamondbacks have green slime killing everything. And if you just go pure tanks, you don't deal enough damage to the trains, which I learned the hard way.
Ouch.
So you mix in like 8 Diamondbacks, and they're really fast, and then the rest are tanks. So tanks kill aberrations, no problem. They kill all the infested, and you can have like 1 bunker, just in case, like early on, one bunker at each ramp. I put Stukov in A.
I actually have Stukov in S because I'm thinking no prestige. You use mostly bunkers, but you add a couple tanks or a bunch of tanks later on to deal more splash damage that you need to. And then until then you can use your top bars to hold on. And once you have a critical mass of bunkers, it just kind of becomes, a regular old Stukov game where I know it's not the third prestige, but
But
it kind of might feel that way, especially if you have tank support taking out their rate of infested with your own.
if you're using mass bunkers, you can do that with P1, except your tanks will be cheaper. You lose the compound, but you don't need the compound,
I guess that's true.
right?
The compound is the only thing you really lose with the first prestige. Yeah, okay.
But you get cheaper tanks, which deal even more damage
Even more. That makes sense. All right.
because you buy things for less.
So is that good enough to put him in that?
I don't think he's S because you still have to work,
Starts
and
to work.
also air,
Really?
air.
But that's what the invested
So
for.
the infested don't like battle cruisers are gonna Yamato your bunkers, so they're gonna hurt a lot. And yeah, ground
Well,
not a problem. Air is a bit of a problem. If you need to spend money on like liberators to deal with air, then you have fewer tanks to deal with like the
I
train
mean,
and the infested.
how I deal with the air is with a flood of infested from the bunkers, and on double train waves, I drop the Alexander to mind control, the air.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think that's like S where you can just set and forget level
I mean,
like
it's
Karax.
one click. I get it. I get it. It's not saying forget, but it's like one click. Plus, a lot of the fun of co-op is clicking the thing that makes you win. Like the Igor, like the immobilization wave. That's the fun part of playing co-op. I know saying forget is fun, but like the click to win is the press this button to win is even funner
The fact
sometimes.
that you have to kind of adjust your strategy makes it like I think it like the strategy kind of you have to like balance the number of units for each one depending on what the enemy has. Whereas for like Karax, you just build the same thing no matter what they have. For Nova, you can build liberators no matter what they have.
That's true. I
You
would.
don't have to really have like adjust your plan, even though you kind of should, but you don't
I
need to.
mean, the plan is
Whereas
mass.
Stukov, you kind of have to.
The plan is mass bunkers with some tank support. You know. But okay, I guess if it's not unanimous, it's not S. So Stukov goes down to A. Swann, I actually had Swann and S again because defense good. I did play Swann here. I used Wraiths, and they're pretty good against trains. The first train, I delayed my first warbots, my first Ares, and they kind of did the job with the laser drill support. And then I actually used the second prestige, so I can use the concentrated beam and pulse cannon against attack waves to soften or to basically delete them all or almost all of them, so that my wraiths can just finish the job. And then I kind of just left infested after I destroy the train, just move on to the next thing because I have flaming betties at the ramp. So S for me. What do you think?
Uh, Concentrated beams cooldown is 3 minutes. The trains come every 3 minutes, which means you should use the concentrated beams on the
Every
trains
train.
and you kill the escorts while you're at it. And you deal 640 damage to each cart. So the first concentrated beam kills the first train. Just one beam
Beautiful.
destroys the whole train.
That's beautiful.
So as long as you have static defense, which you can just place on the bottom of the ramp, you will catch all the infested. Aberrations will also die. Immortals might be a problem a little bit. Then if they're immortals, I think you should build on high ground so you can shoot them before they shoot you, and you will have wraiths so you can pick them off. But that's what kept him from double S because of immortals. Otherwise, I would have put in double S. I put him in just one S,
All right, single
just
S.
one.
Nice S Swan. He goes in S. Tychus. Oh wait, prestige wise, did you use the second one or no prestige?
Uh, 0 or 2, not 1.
All right, I also use the second prestige in my game. Tychus, where do you have him?
Tychus actually is one of the. He's not bad, but he's not as good as other ones. Just because there's quite a lot of infested, and
Yeah,
if you're using lone wolf, it gets kind of crowded. I
it
think
does.
playing regularly is fine. Like
No
uh,
prestige.
before aberrations come, you can put like a bunch of ebays in front of your missile turrets. But if you're playing lone wolf, then one of your like a Vega can just steal them, and they'll help you. uh, I put Tychus in A.
I actually had Tychus in A as well. I considered briefly putting him in S, but like I remembered, oh, trains have a lot of health. He wasn't really that good at fighting trains to begin with, so you probably want like teamwork against the trains, and then the infested. Who has he got against infested? Uh, he got Sirius, I guess. Blaze is good against infested, but what else is he good against? Not much. Uh, yeah, for me, it's A. He's not bad. He's good. He's A. A is good, but like, I was thinking of reasons to put him in S, and it's nothing really sticks out to give him really an S tier characteristic for me on this mutation. That's why he's A. No prestige, right? Or second,
Uh, any prestige. I
any.
would not use the third, but I think any prestige is fine.
Of course, you wouldn't use the first. You're a cat. Cats are not dog people. That's why you don't like the big dog. Tychus in A. Let's move on. Vorazun. I put a Vorazun in A because I would use cloak walls, which I understand they can block your ally, but at the same time, they're pretty good. They're pretty good in the early game, and later game. I know the aberrations don't really care about walls, but like in the later game, you can kind of just have a couple Dark Templar there. I know you still kind of A move, but or you still kind of F2 them away, or I still kind of F2 them away, but I think they're fine. I'm actually thinking in the late game, oh, just close the wall and just warping my stuff outside. That's what I'm thinking. Uh, I don't think she's B here, because the time stop trick can just make the escorts not be escorts. They'll just stand there while the train passes them by. Twotuuu has a video where he has timestamps on where you should time stop, or basically when the escorts have stopped in front of the train and the train's still going. That's when you hit time stop, and you can do that and nullify. I think like 5 of the trains. It's pretty good. That's more than half. What do you think?
Let's see. I think I memorized these. It's
550. Oh,
525,
525.
950. 950, nope, it's not a bug, but you get to kill the second train. 1515 on the double trains. 2130 on the other double trains.
So that's 5 trains, or 5 trains with time stop, but or with bug. 5 trains with
Yeah,
bug, and another one without bug,
yeah.
but you'll
So
still
if
destroy it
if
anyway.
you fighting against like if you're fighting against air comp, you just make more Corsairs.
Or
And
Corsairs.
if you have a cloak wall, then the infested can't get in your base. So yeah, they send observers or something. Then you have an oracle, and your Corsairs will take it out, and then they continue to stare at the invisible wall, and they can't get up.
No, they cannot.
So I put Vorazun in A.
All right. Like how we agree on that. Zagara, where do you have him? Oh wait,
Zagara
Vorazun is one
has
prestige. Vorazun is one prestige. It is the Keeper of Shadows, third prestige. Zagara, where do we have her?
Zagara has bio launchers, which are great AoE, and they hit. You can just, if you don't like to change targets, which you don't really need to, you have different sets. You have like one dedicated to the top track, one to the bottom track, shooting at the bottom track, and I guess you can also have one at the player two's ramp, and you have a second one shooting at the bottom track as well. Then you can have at the natural, so you can have another group shooting the first track. So you have
First
two
track.
groups shooting the first track, two groups shooting the second track, and you don't need to alter like the shots,
Don't need to
and you
retarget.
just use all your units, focus on controlling them. I put her in A, but if you say B, I don't have a strong objection to that.
I actually put Cigar in A as well because I'm thinking bio launchers are basically earth splitters that shoot up, which technically, in that sense, makes them an improvement. They just don't have the range that earth splitters do, but they function the same way, almost. I did put Zagara in A. I was hoping you would give a reason to put her in B, but like I don't have any either. That's why I put her in A. What prestige did you use? The second one or the first one?
Third one.
Third one?
Third
All
one.
right. Third prestige.
Not the first one.
Not the
Not
first one. All right. Zeratul, well, cannon's good. Trapped artifact fragment, so you can just get all the fragments. You don't have to search in the darkness. Keep getting powerful. More cannons, more good. Watchers have extra range when you get the third artifact fragment, so you can see even more of the map. You can see everything come in, and just remember to project your cannons so that your real ones don't get hurt. S tier. What do you think?
On top of that, I think you should add like 5 to 6 Dark
Abrogators.
Templar
Oh,
to
Dark
deal
Templar.
train damage.
That's pretty good
Because
actually.
if you just use cannons, your cannons might shoot like infested instead of the train.
Mm.
So yeah, you have Dark Templar to make sure that the train takes damage.
All right.
I put Zeratul S.
Okay. So, prestige wise, do we want the second one or no prestige? Or third
I
one?
think I used the third one.
Third
but
one? So you don't have
I did
extra
this a long
vision?
time ago.
I like the vision on the. I personally like the vision on the
I-
the Watchers.
You should use the second one because you get lots of fragments and it's easy to trap the artifact.
And you get the
It's in
demote
the-
dude.
Yeah.
You can demote the infest into drones and stuff. It's pretty fun. Okay. So hold on. Okay, so I have now added the double S tier, and Arcturus, the Emperor of this map, apparently, is the only guy there. Who's top of S? So it's either Karax or Nova, right?
Swann or Karax.
Oh, Swann or Karax. I actually didn't think of Swann. I knew Swann is S, but like that high in S.
I think Swann is better than Karax because
splash damage.
Karax and Swann suffer from the same problem, which
Immortals.
is Immortals. So if there are no Immortals, then Swann is better because
Okay,
of AoE.
got no problem against that. I did play Swann earlier. He was really good. Then Karax, then Nova? Or Karax, then Zeratul?
Nova bottom.
Nova bottom.
Oh no. There's still wait.
No, I think
who else?
Stetboy.
Stetmann, was he here?
Yeah, Stetboy's bottom of A.
Uh,
Or S. Stetboy's bottom of S. So Swann, Karax,
okay, I guess.
Zeratul, Nova? Or Nova, Zeratul?
Zeratul before Nova.
Alright, so we have Swann, Karax, Zeratul, Nova, Stetboy. Alright. The Zerg Commander's not having a good time so far. Who's top of A? Here's where the real our debate begins. Who's top? Like, more than half of the commanders are in A. Yeah, more than half. Who's top of A? Who are the better ones here? I think
Alarak.
Alarak's one of the better ones.
AoE.
I had him in B, but okay.
Because he has AoE, great AoE.
Would you put Kerrigan as one of the better ones? How about
Kerrigan?
How about Fenix?
Phoenix. They're also good.
Okay, so we've had a little bit of a discussion. So we agreed that Tychus is bottom of A because he just doesn't have as much firepower against the trains as the others do. Abathur is second to the bottom because he needs an ultimate evolution, and if you can't get it, you're not going to do well. He's still A, but not as strong A as the others. And then
Raynor.
Raynor
takes time to get going.
Yeah, he takes a while to ramp up. Is Stukov a higher A, or like he's just middle of the pack? Because I really like just having a trail invested with siege tank support.
I mean, if you're not P3, your trail's gonna be really small unless you just like
It's not
unload
really small.
bunkers. But do you really have that many minerals lying around
I mean,
for bunkers?
you got 2 bases.
Because yeah, but I don't I only had 3 bunkers, and I don't remember having that many spare minerals.
How many bunkers?
3, one
Oh,
one at each ramp.
well, I make
I
more
mean,
than
you have spare minerals way later.
I make more than that. I made like, I don't know, something like 20. And then
If you have that many, you might as well play P3.
right? But like, yeah, you did say that the tanks are cheaper, so yeah, I guess you might as well play P3. Anyway, so here's the weird part. So there are like 7 commanders, and we can't agree on who's better than the other, except apparently Alarak, who I did have a B tier, by the way. uh, huh. They're all pretty good in their own right. We had an argument about Vorazun earlier. Not a heated one. Just uh, Vorazun can cloak wall all the ramps, but she has a risk of walling her ally in with no means of moving out. And if you do that, you're kind of assuming responsibility to do all the stuff that your ally can't. But I said that one way to get around that is to just make your allies' infrastructure, the innermost buildings of your allies' infrastructure, part of the wall, so that all the infrastructure that makes units are outside the wall, so that the units are able to fight right away, which does work. The really nice thing for Vorazun is that when you hit the time stop at the right timing, you can essentially fight the trains escort free, which is huge. That's half the main objectives of the game. But like everyone else is good. How about Zagara? Is Zagara closer to the top of A or closer to the bottom of A?
Oh, I forgot about her. Bottom.
All right, there we go. Zagara bottom of A. So the bottom 4 of A are Raynor, Abathur, Tychus, Zagara in that order. So we have the remaining guys: Alarak, Dehaka, Fenix, Kerrigan, Stukov, Vorazun, in a weird 6-way tie. And the only reason they're in the 6-way tie is not because they're as strong as each other, but because they're good in different ways. And you kind of just play whichever one fits your style the most. So if you like flying spaceships with like giant Colossus guards, you play Alarak. If you like giant monsters, you play Dehaka. If you like hero-esque things and non-heroes that turn into heroes, you play Fenix. If you like Omega Worms, I like Omega Worms, I'll play Kerrigan. If you're lazy, if you just like mass bunkers, hey, Stukov's your guy. If you like breaking the game just because you can, play Vorazun. So yeah, it's a 6-way tie based on your preferred style. Alright, last one. B tier is Artanis and Horner. Who is higher?
Horner's better.
Horner's better. Alright, there we go. Because Horner was an A tier candidate. There we go. Alright, yeah, as you can see, it is a very fitting mutation number 420. It's 420 because everyone is so high up the tier list. Alright guys, watch Twotuu's channel. I will link it up below. I'll see you guys next time. Don't worry, next week will probably be edited because I will actually have a little bit of time to record. I hope. I'll see you then.